Shabbat Shalom. Shabbat Shalom. It's wonderful to welcome all of you, to welcome you to this beautiful sanctuary that we have here in Northwood, to welcome you all over the world, wherever you're watching us from, whether you're in India or right around the corner. It's lovely to be able to welcome Shabbat together this evening. And it gives me great pleasure to invite Gabi onto the bima to begin for us with lighting the candles. If you have your own candles, then please do get ready to light your candles. If you wish to stand, you may stand.
Ha'am ha'holchim b'choshech ra'u or gadol. The people who walked in a darkness have seen a great light. In the past week, some have known sorrow or disappointment, and for some the future looks far from bright. Let this Sabbath be an oasis of quietness. To the lonely, may it bring companionship. To the sorrowing, comfort. To the dispirited, courage. To all of us, peace of mind and hope for the future. I need to hold that bit up.
Baruch atah Adonai, Eloheinu melech haolam, asher kiddushanu b'mitzvot tov, ve'tzivanu lehadlik ner shel Shabbat.
Amen.
You have to appreciate
There
that.
you go.
Every Shehechianu moment comes with a bit of a wobbly. Shekoyach.
Shekoyah. And we're on service number 5, page 88, if you're following in the Sidurim.
Please be seated.
There are days when we seek material things and measure failure by what we do not own.
On the Sabbath, we wish not to acquire,
but to share. There are days when we exploit nature with reckless greed.
On the Sabbath, we stand in wonder before the mystery of creation.
There are days when we think only of ourselves.
On the Sabbath, we open our hearts to the needs and rights of others. Tov ladot ladonai, ulezamel shimcha elyon, lahagid babokecha stecha, ve'emunatecha ba'alelot, alei asov, alei navel, alei higayon bechino, ki simchtani Adonai b'foalecha, b'maaseh yadecha haranen, ma gadol maasecha, Adonai meod amku machshevotecha, tzadik ata yifrach, ke'erez bavanon yizker shetulim b'veit Adonai bechatzrot Eloheinu yafrichu. Od yenuvun b'seva, deshenim v'rananim yiyu lahagid ki yashar Adonai tzuri v'lo avlata bo. The Eternal One reigns reigns in grandeur robed.
Robed and girded with strength.
The world stands firm.
It shall not be moved.
Your throne is established from of old.
For you are everlasting.
The oceans roar, eternal God, the thundering oceans roar.
The thundering oceans rage.
Yet greater than the roaring waves, mightier than the breaking seas.
You stand supreme on high.
Sure are the proofs of your power, O God.
And holiness adorns your house forever.
Lecha dodi likrat kala, B'nei Shabbat nekabela. Lecha dodi likrat kala, B'nei Shabbat nekabela. Shabbat nekabela, lecha dodi likrat kala, B'nei Shabbat nekabela. Shamor v'zachor b'dibor echad, Ishmi'anu el hamyuchad, Adonai echad u'shamo echad, L'shemo tiferet v'litila. Lecha dodi likrat kala, B'nei Shabbat nekabela. Lecha dodi likrat kala, B'nei Shabbat nekabela. Likrat Shabbat lechu v'melacha, Ki imekor ha'beracha, Me'rosh mikedem nesucha. Sof machaseh v'machash latfila. Lecha dodi likrat kala, B'nei Shabbat nekabela. Lecha dodi likrat kala, B'nei Shabbat nekabela. Itorari, Ki ba'orech u'mi'ori, Uri shedaberi. Kevod Adonai alayich niglas. Lecha dodi likrat kala, B'nei Shabbat nekabela. Lecha dodi likrat kala, B'nei Shabbat nekabela. Oi v'shalom ha'ateret ba'ala, Gam b'simcha u'b'tzola, Tov emone am segula. Boi chala, Lecha dodi likrat kala, B'nei Shabbat nekabela. Lecha dodi likrat kala, B'nei Shabbat our praise is due.
We praise the Eternal One, to whom our praise is due forever.
Please be seated. And on page 93, we continue together.
We praise you, Eternal One, our God, sovereign of the universe, whose word brings on the evening, whose wisdom opens heaven's gates, whose understanding changes times and seasons, and whose will sets the stars in their courses in the sky. You make day and night, rolling light away from darkness, and darkness from light. You make day pass and bring on the night, and separate day from night. You rule the hosts of heaven. We praise you, O God, whose word makes evening fall. Shema Yisrael, Adonai Eloheinu, Adonai Echad.
Shema Yisrael, Adonai Eloheinu, Adonai Echad.
Baruch Shem Kavod Malchuto Leolam Va'ed.
Baruch Shem Kavod, Shem Kavod Malchuto Leolam Va'ed.
V'ahavta et Adonai Elohecha
V'chol levavecha v'chol nafshecha v'chol meodecha. V'hayu hadvarim ha'ele asher anochi metzavecha hayom al levavecha. V'shinantam levanecha v'dibarta bam. V'shivtecha b'veitecha uv'lechtecha v'derech uv'shochbecha uv'kumecha. Ukshaltam le'od al yadecha v'hayu letotafot bein einecha uchtavtam al mezuzot beitecha uv'sharecha.
Lama tizkeru va'asitem et kol mitzvotai v'yitem kedoshim lelohechem. Ani Adonai Elohechem asher hotzeti etchem me'eretz Mitzrayim liot lachem
this we hold to be true and sure. You alone, Eternal One, are our God, and we are Israel, your people. You have freed us from oppressors and delivered us from tyrants. You led us out of Egypt forever to serve you in freedom. When we witnessed your power, we praised your name and gave thanks. Willingly we accepted your rule. Then full of joy, we sang together.
Mi chamocha Elohim Adonai, mi chamocha neda b'kodesh, lo ra tehilot osef eleh, Adonai yimloch le'olam va'ed.
ונאמר, כי פדה אדוני את יעקב, וגאלו מיד חזק ממנו. ברוך אתה אדוני, גאל ישראל.
השכיבנו אדוני אלוהינו לשלום, והעמידנו מלכנו לחיים, ופרוס עלינו סוכת שלומך, ותקננו בעצה טובה מלפניך, והושיענו למען שמך, והגן בעדנו, והסר מעלינו אויב גבר, וחרב ורעב ויגון, וחרב ממנו עוון ופשע, ובצר כנפיך תסתירנו, כי אל שומרנו ומצילנו אתה, כי אל מלך חנון ורחום אתה, ושמו צאתנו ובואנו לחיים ולשלום, מעתה ועד עולם.
ברוך אתה אדוני,
הפורס סוכת שלום עלינו, ועל כל יושבי תבל.
Please rise. Eternal God, open up our lips, that our mouths may declare your praise. Baruch
ברוך
atah
אתה
Adonai,
אדוני, אלוהינו ואלוהי אבותינו ואמותינו, אלוהי אברהם, אלוהי יצחק ואלוהי יעקב, אלוהי שרה, אלוהי רבקה, אלוהי רחל ואלוהי לאה, האל הגדול, הגיבור והנורא, אל עליון, גומר חסדים טובים וקונה הכל, וזוכר חסדי אבות ואמהות, ומביא גאולה לבני בניהם, למען שמו באהבה, מלך עוזר ומושיע ומגן, ברוך אתה אדוני, מגן אברהם ועזרת שרה.
אתה
גיבור לעולם אדוני, מחיי מתים אתה רב להושיע, משיב הרוח ומוריד הגשם, מזריח השמש ומוריד הטל, מכלכל חיים בחסד, מחיי מתים ברחמים רבים, זומך נופלים ורופא חולים, ומתיר אסורים, ומקיים אמונתו לשני עפר. מי כמוך בעל גבורות, ומי דומה לך, מלך ממית ומחיה ומצמיח ישועה, ונאמן אתה להחיות מתים, ברוך אתה אדוני, מחיי המתים.
קדוש אתה ונורא שמך, ואין לנו אלוה מבלעדיך. ברוך אתה אדוני, האל הקדוש. Please be seated.
ושמרו בני ישראל את השבת, לעשות את השבת לדורותם ברית עולם. ביני ובין בני ישראל אותי לעולם. כי ששת ימים עשה אדוני את השמיים ואת הארץ, וביום השביעי שבת ויהי נפש.
On page 100, we read together, Our God and God of our ancestors, may our rest on this day be pleasing in your sight. In your gracious love, Eternal One, let the holiness of your Sabbath enter our hearts, and may all Israel who hallow your name be exalted by its peace. We praise you, Eternal One, for the holiness of the Sabbath.
רוצה אדוני אלוהינו בעמך ישראל, ותפילתם באהבה תקבל, ותהי לרצון תמיד עבודת ישראל עמך. ברוך אתה אדוני, שאותך לבדך, ביראה נעבוד.
And together we give thanks that you, Eternal One, are our God. As you were the God of our ancestors, you are the rock of our life, the power that shields us in every age. We thank and praise you for our lives, which are in your hand, for our souls, which are in your keeping, for the signs of your presence we encounter every day, and for your wondrous gifts at all times, morning, noon, and night. We praise you, O God, source of goodness, to whom our thanks are due.
Shalom Rav al Yisrael Amcha, Tasim leolam. Shalom Rav al Yisrael Amcha, Tasim leolam. Ki ata hu melech adon, lehol hashalom. Ki ata hu melech adon, lehol hashalom. Shalom Rav al Yisrael Amcha, Tasim leolam. Shalom Rav al Yisrael Amcha, Tasim leolam. B'tov b'einecha levarech et amcha Yisrael, b'chol עת ובכל שעה, בשלומך. Shalom Rav al Yisrael Amcha, Tasim leolam. Shalom Rav al Yisrael Amcha, Tasim leolam. Tasim leolam. Tasim leolam.
Baruch atah
Adonai,
Osei Hashalom.
Shalom. We'll take a few moments for silent prayer.
words of our mouths and the meditations of our hearts be acceptable to you, O God, our rock and our Redeemer.
Say shalom b'rama, Uya say shalom, Aleinu v'al kol Yisrael, v'al kol bnei Adam.
And may our moments of Shabbat peace carry through with us this Shabbat into the week ahead and throughout our lives and whatever it brings ahead. It is quite phenomenal for us to welcome so many people into our sanctuary. It is also so incredible to welcome people who have spent huge amounts of their life within this synagogue. I'm looking at a young person who hasn't known any difference. And I'm looking at more mature people who, well, this has been their home, their community for so many years. And then joined by people who are coming into the sanctuary for the first time. Although hopefully this already feels like a home, already a sanctuary for you, even if you've only experienced it online before. In our weekly Sidra Re'eh, there is the statement about creating a central sanctuary. The temple in Jerusalem, a place to centralize all of worship. Tonight we have plenty of people in our sanctuary, and we want to follow the ruling of Hillel as opposed to the school of Shammai that talks about increasing holiness at all times rather than decreasing. Their discussion was about whether you light the Hanukkah candles 8 first and go down, or whether you light 1 and then go up, because that's a Jewish kind of debate to have. We hope that our numbers in our central sanctuary will always continue to rise. But there are also some problems with the rationale of a central sanctuary. In ancient times, there was something of a power trip, something of the decision to centralize worship and therefore to do away with all other forms of worship. And they may have been right, who are we to judge? But the attempts to do away with pagan practices and cults and idolatry. Why does the Torah need to constantly remind us to worship the one God and not to fall into idolatry? Because everybody did worship idols and follow pagan practices as well. So the need to keep on prompting and reminding the people. And so perhaps to have a central sanctuary was a way to gain power over people, to worship in one way. We are so fortunate that our member Susan Whaley has organized our Project Postcode group on WhatsApp. Some of you don't lose WhatsApp and don't lose sleep over it. But for many, it has been a way through lockdowns to connect with each other, to be able to reach out and be in communication with other people. And now to do that wonderfully secular thing, not pagan, but to meet up and go for a walk. And to know that you have neighbors who you did not know were round the corner before. For some, there has been a desperate need to come back into our sanctuary of the Ark Synagogue. There have been times when perhaps one might have questioned whether we would be back, and it was dispiriting. And now we are. It fills our souls with huge love and warmth, not just for God, for religion, but for seeing people, for being together with people we know that we can rely on. For others, it will be like the temple in Jerusalem, that perhaps saw people come up just on 3 times of the year, the Shalosh Regalim, literally the 3 legs, but the 3 pilgrim festivals of Pesach, Shavuot, or Sukkot, depending on which way you want to read the year. 3 times coming to a central space to offer one's first of whatever one had produced, to be contrite, to be humble, to come before a maker for whom one may have had a direct relationship or may not have known exactly whom they are coming before, but still doing so in safety and security of a practice, a common practice, and people all around joining in with them, offering everything that they had produced. For others still, it may be a Hajj, a once-in-a-lifetime kind of experience for people, or at least once a year. This week, at a wedding, a couple of our members came up to me and introduced themselves to me. They have been members of this synagogue for 42 years, and have we never seen them. But on this one occasion, it was just a privilege to be together, to laugh, to enjoy each other's company. Who knows? Maybe we may do so again before another inevitable occasion. And for others still, it may be something like a bit of a messianic dream. As Solomon ibn Gavirol, the famous Spanish poet and philosopher, dreamt, "My heart is in the west. I am in the west, and my heart is in the east," dreaming of the Holy Land. For some at the moment, it is still too difficult to come into this sanctuary. And so we are delighted that we can continue and will always continue to come into your sanctuary, to come and bring the love of community to your space, wherever you are. Dwelling places refers to synagogues and sanctuaries that are designated in the hope that God may dwell in them, accept the prayers of those who worship there and who need support. And they are called good because they benefit not only those who make use of them, but the entire people. May it be said of our central sanctuary in Northwood, of the Ark Synagogue, and of all the sanctuaries in which we worship, happy are those who dwell in your house, who are ever singing your praise. Turn to our concluding prayers that you can find in front of you on your screen or on page 520. Page 520 of Siddur Lev. Page 520 indeed. And please rise. Aleinu
לשבח לאדון הכל, לתת גדולה ליוצא בראשית, אשר שם חלקנו לייחד את שמו, וגורלנו להמליך מלכותו.
ואנחנו קוראים ומשתחווים ומודים לפני מלך מלך המלכים, הקדוש, הקדוש, הקדוש ברוך הוא.
שהוא נוטה שמיים ויוסד ארץ, ומושב יקרו בשמיים ממעל, ושכינת עוזו בגבהי מרומים. הוא אלוהינו אין עוד, אמת מלכנו אפס זולתו, ככתוב בתורתו, וידעת היום והשבות אל לבביך, כי אדוני הוא האלוהים, בשמיים ממעל, ועל הארץ מתחת, אין עוד.
ונאמר, והיה אדוני למלך על כל הארץ. ביום ההוא יהיה אדוני אחד, ושמו
The growing good of the world is partly dependent on unhistoric acts, and that things are not so ill with you and me as they might have been is half owing to the number who live faithfully a hidden life and rest in unvisited tombs. Even when they are gone, the departed are with us. They inspire us to live as in their higher moments they themselves sought to live. And on this Shabbat we remember Alan Hirsch, the father of Rachel Rickeisen, David Howard Berman, the husband of Barbara and father of Andrew and Matthew, Erna Galina, the mother of Judy Lee, Henrietta Clifford, the grandmother of Lara Kilty, Josefa Hasse, the grandmother of Jutta Hasse Schultz, and Mark Mack and Deborah Tibby Ellis, the parents of John and Ruth, parents-in-law of Judy. And please do feel free to share with us other people that you are thinking of in the chat. We remember them. They remain in our hearts. They are a continual blessing. As we together recite Kaddish on page 524.
יתגדל ויתקדש שמי רבה, בעלמא דברך חירותי וימליך מלכותי, בחייכון וביומכון ובחיי דכל בית ישראל, בעגלה ובזמן קריב ואמרו אמן. יהי שמי רבה מבורך לעולם עולמי עלמיה. יתברך וישתבח ויתפאר ויתרומם ויתנשא, ויתהדר ויתעלה ויתהלל שמי דקודשה בריחו. לעילה מן כל ברכתה ושירתה, תושבחתה ונחמתה, דמירן בעלמה ואמרו אמן. יהי שלמה רבה מן שמיה, וחיים עלינו ועל כל ישראל, ואמרו אמן. עושה שלום במרומיו, הוא יעשה שלום, עלינו ועל כל ישראל, ועל כל בני אדם, ואמרו אמן.
May great peace descend from heaven, and abundant life be granted to us, to all Israel, to all peoples, and to all those who mourn. And let us say, Amen.
Amen.
Please be seated.
We will be concluding today with Yom Ze Yisrael, which you can find on page 644, for those who are using the books. And in terms of announcement, Rabbi Aaron is taking a little road trip tomorrow to the congregation in York. Lucky him. And if you haven't seen the beautiful article about York in the JC, then you might want to check that out as well. And it'll be a pleasure to welcome three members of the York community who've been spending a lot of time with us as well.
Our members as well. The only issue is that we're meeting in the park.
And the forecast is for weather like it is just now outside. I was about to say we will be concluding with Kiddush in the sanctuary,
Yes.
And then I was going to invite Rabbi Aaron to join you outside if you would like to mingle, but
It's okay.
I feel that everyone will be just legging it to their cars right now.
We're made of sturdy stuff here.
But for all those who are joining us online, we'll be meeting on Zoom, and I will definitely join you on the Zoom call
So
for a little chat.
We wish this week, this Shabbat, Yasmin, Ahmed, and Brian Muzzletov of the York community, who have studied with us, and many of us have got to know them through this year. And Next Shabbat, we are going to be celebrating in the sanctuary on Saturday morning with Sam Phillips as we welcome her into the community. And we have a number of special guests as well. And it's a hybrid service, so please book your spaces and come and join us in the sanctuary on Saturday the 14th. Lydia's back with us on Friday evening for a more informal tent-style service. We really look forward to that, and it's wonderful to have Lydia. What did you get in your degree? First grade music student from Oxford, so well done, mazel tov, and it's just wonderful to have you here and for us to be able to kvel with you as well, and to embarrass you. Like anything. Do you want to give us a chord? Or a note? No, Ruth's got it.
Yom Zel Yisrael, Ora v'simcha, Ora v'simcha, Shabbat menucha. Yom Zel Yisrael, Ora v'simcha, Shabbat, Shabbat menucha, menucha, Shabbat, Shabbat menucha. Tzivita pikudim b'ma'at Sinai, Shabbat u'moadim lishmo b'chol shanai, la'aroch lefanai ma'aseh arucha, Shabbat, Shabbat menucha, menucha, Shabbat, Shabbat menucha. Yom Zeh Yisrael, Ora v'simcha, Ora v'simcha, Shabbat menucha. Yom Zeh Yisrael, Ora v'simcha, Shabbat, Shabbat menucha, menucha, Shabbat, Shabbat menucha. חמדת הלבבות לאומה שבורה, לנפשות נחבות נשמה יתרה, לנפש מצרה יעלוה. שבת, שבת מנוחה, מנוחה, שבת, שבת מנוחה. יום זה, היום זה ישראל, אורה ושמחה, אורה ושמחה, שבת מנוחה. יום זה ישראל, אורה ושמחה, שבת, שבת מנוחה, מנוחה, שבת, שבת מנוחה. קידשת ברכת אותו מכל ימים, וששת כלית מלאכת עולמים. בו מצאו הגומים השקטו ביתך, שבת, שבת מנוחה, מנוחה, שבת, שבת מנוחה. יום זה ישראל, אורה ושמחה, אורה ושמחה, שבת מנוחה. יום זה ישראל, אורה ושמחה, שבת, שבת מנוחה, מנוחה, שבת, שבת מנוחה.
Happy are those who dwell in your house, who are ever singing your praise. Happy the people on whom such blessing falls. Happy the people whose God is the Eternal One. Shabbat Shalom.
Shabbat Shalom, and we'll stay live for Kiddush. And
if you want to join in with us, hopefully you have near with you at home your Kiddush cups.
this is where you have a real advantage of being at home, because you get wine and the people in the sanctuary
There's pluses
don't.
and minuses, positives
Exactly.
and negatives. Yeah.
And you get to choose your own wine, even better. But we join together for the blessings nonetheless. Baruch atah Adonai Eloheinu melech haolam, borei peri hagafim. Baruch atah Adonai Eloheinu melech haolam, asher kiddushanu b'mitzvotav v'ratza b'anu. בשבת קודשו באהבה וברצון הנחילנו, זיכרון למעשה בראשית, כי הוא יום תהילה למקראי קודש, זכר ליציאת מצרים. כי באנו בחרת ואותנו קידשת מכל העמים, בשבת קודשך באהבה וברצון הנחלתנו. ברוך אתה אדוני
Mekadesh HaShabbat. Amen. L'chaim.
And we say the blessing over our challah, and I will leave it covered for when I speak over it, so that if anyone would like to have some challah afterwards, you can get some challah. So we say together, Baruch atah Adonai Eloheinu melech haolam, hamotzi lechem min haaretz.
So if you're joining us online, please now switch to our Zoom room to come in to have a good old natter and a chat. And also after tomorrow's morning service, and of course at Havdalah, you never need to feel on your own. Please do join us, not only to sanctify the day, but to sanctify the community and the good of being together. Shabbat Shalom.
The jitters of having people here went away pretty much. Initially, you were just like, oh.